The tea is hot. Hey Dragonlings, welcome back to my channel. For those who are new here, my name is Skye, and I typically write paranormal romance under the name SD Hegyes. In today's video, I wanted to have a discussion about Natalia Leigh's video, Is AuthorTube Dying? Oh boy, this is going to get long, lengthy, and I'm probably going to ramble a little bit. I'm just saying, I have tried filming this already. My original video was about an hour long, split into two because it said I had exceeded the maximum file space, and I still had a lot to say after that hour, and I keep coming back and making more notes on things I wanted to cover. But the main thing was the fact that my audio in that video was bad. It was, yeah. So I'm having to refilm. But hopefully I can make this a lot shorter than an hour, and hopefully I can cover all my points and talk about them and actually get this out. But do I think AuthorTube is dying? No, not at all. AuthorTube is not dying. AuthorTube is evolving like a Pokemon. So let's go ahead and get into this discussion. Originally, I was not going to talk about this. However, after watching Natalia's video a couple weeks ago when it first came out, and then seeing all the responses that are coming out now, I especially wanted to jump on this after watching author JC Carpenter's video and Laura Wright's video, because they were the ones that pointed out some things that I had not thought of when I had originally watched Natalia's video. And then they made me curious about who else had thoughts about this video. So I went ahead and searched on YouTube the term, Is AuthorTube Dying? And there's two things I wanted to note about this. A, there's not that many videos in response to Natalia's yet. I imagine they're coming. And I know there's been a lot of talk on other places, social media, forums, stuff like that. Because again, these people talk about all that. But this isn't the first time this topic has come up either. And I really hate this topic. It actually came up last year in a Brooke Passmore video by the Brook. And I'll have all the videos I mentioned linked down below and all the channels I mentioned linked down below, because this is gonna, yeah. I want to tell where I got all of these thoughts and processes from, basically. And I have a lot of thoughts. So the first is that I hate this question, because it comes up every once in a while. It's not the first time it comes up, and it's nothing more than fucking clickbait. Clickbait. That's all it is. It doesn't matter if the video actually talks about that directly. It's nothing more than to get you to watch their video. And what I mean by that is, this is a perfect example. Actually, Natalia's video is a perfect example. Natalia Leigh has kind of switched from doing AuthorTube content to doing lifestyle content. Nothing wrong with that. However, when you switch the kind of content you're watching, you're going to lose subscribers. I know personally, I only have so much time in the day. I freelance work, I do formatting, I do blog management, I do transcription. I've done a couple odd jobs in transcription. I have 2 kids I'm homeschooling. I have a husband. I have a life. I don't have time to watch only so many videos outside of my own writing and outside of my own videos, making and editing and posting my own videos. I don't have time for it. So I actually curate my subscription list on content purely that I'm going to watch. And because of that, if you're making videos that don't interest me, I'm not going to subscribe to your channel. Or if you switch the kind of content you're making and you're no longer making content that interests me, I'm going to unsubscribe from your channel. It's nothing personal. It's just that it's a way for me to keep my subscription list curated. Because trust me, every once in a while, I still search certain videos that I want to see. Like if I want to see a writing vlog, if I'm really in the mood for a writing vlog and I've got the time to watch it, I just search in the search bar writing vlog and I go through and look at ones I haven't seen before. I also keep lists of author tubers I've been subscribed to in the past, whether I'm currently subscribed to them or I've unsubscribed from them. And every once in a while, I'll go back and check those people and see if they've got new content that I am interested in watching. Because every once in a while they do. Natalia was one I had unsubscribed to because I am not interested in the live content. But because it was AuthorTube related, this video showed up in my newsfeed as a recommendation. I haven't had a video pop up in my recommendation from her since I unsubscribed from her channel until this one. Even if she's done content in AuthorTube, I have not had those kind of videos pop up in my content, my recommendation. So that just further proves my point that it's nothing more than clickbait meant to irritate you, start drama, stir the pot, and make you click on that video to find out exactly what she means and if she means it the way you think she does. And again, it goes back to starting drama, because that's exactly what it did. Everyone got heated. I know I did. I got heated. And it's not the first time I've gotten heated over this question. I did last year too. And it's meant to, I guess it's meant as a conversation starter, but it rubs people the wrong way. And that's exactly what it did. All these response videos that have come out since then, no matter who they're from, it's because this question rubbed people the wrong way. The only reason this was brought up was because you made a video that was controversial. And I'm pretty certain you only made it in order to get clicks and likes from people who have unsubscribed from your channel. It's irritating. Especially since the people who generally kind of do these kind of videos, they'll switch to another kind of content that they're making, make this one video in the original content they were making, and then go back to making that content. However, they've gotten the clicks with this one video. They've possibly gotten some new subscribers with this one video, some of which they may have lost. And it's just a way to bring in viewers. It's just a way to bring in subscribers. And it's nothing more than clickbait. However, I will say that I do agree with her. I have notes I'm going to be looking at every once in a while. I will have to say that I agree with her reasons why she misses AuthorTube. And this is going to be a two-parter. She doesn't say that, she goes on further to say that she misses the way AuthorTube was. And in a way, because of that, she is right. AuthorTube is dying. In fact, actually, it's dead. I've been on YouTube for 6 years, creating AuthorTube content for 6 years, and I have seen so much change to what kind of content is accepted on AuthorTube. When I first started on AuthorTube 6 years ago, there was nothing but how-tos and advice videos, and it was really irritating. There might every once in a while be a writing vlog. Live streams weren't a thing at all. The writing sprint live streams definitely weren't a thing at all. That didn't start off until much later. And now it's really heavy in the live streams, less about videos, and it's a completely different beast than it was when I first joined. And that's not terrible. Change is good. Do I sometimes miss the kind of content I used to watch? Yes and no, it varies. Because I never did watch a lot of the how-tos and advice videos. And I'll go into that in just a second. But at the same time, right now, live streams are just not something I'm able to do often. So it's the content I can watch on YouTube right now is very limited in a way. So in that sense, yes, I do understand completely. AuthorTube has changed. It's a different beastie now. It's a different Pokemon. And it's the old AuthorTube is dead. There's a new AuthorTube in its place. And another thing she mentioned was the content creators. There were people that she would talk to that are no longer making content. And to touch on that subject, I get that, because if you watch enough content from people, you get to know them, they become your friend, especially if you're commenting on their videos and they're responding back and there's conversation going back and forth. And maybe even get to the point where you follow them on social media and you guys are conversating there and they become your friends. And then they disappear. Whether they mention that they're leaving AuthorTube, they're leaving YouTube, or not. If they disappear, you're going to miss them. I know there's people that I watched 6 years ago that are no longer making content at all, and I still, to this day, wonder every once in a while if they're okay, if they've just moved on, or if something actually happened to them to force them to move on away from AuthorTube and YouTube. Especially if it's someone that I knew who had health issues or problems at home or something like that. I do wonder, and because of that, I can agree. I miss AuthorTube, but that's not AuthorTube I miss. I miss the creators from AuthorTube, and there's a distinction. That distinction was not made with a title like "Is AuthorTube Dying?" As far as the videos go, the old videos, the how-tos, the crafts, there was a big debacle a couple years ago about credentials, about people saying they did what they said they did, or having the experience, the accolades to say what they were saying in their videos. And I know for me personally, this is a big thing, because if you tell me not to do such, and then you publish a book later where you do everything you told me not to do, I'm less likely to watch your videos and take your advice. In fact, I'm not going to take it at all, because you can't even put your own words into action. Like, why would I listen to you tell me what not to do if you're going to do it anyways? It doesn't make any sense to me. So in that sense, I can completely understand it. But there was a whole debacle about whether people actually had the degrees they said they did, whether they did the jobs they said they did at the places they said they did. And then there was another whole debacle about selling services that you weren't qualified to sell. If you're selling marketing services and you don't have any marketing experience, not going to buy from you. There was a comment that actually related to that I love. I don't remember the exact comment. I just remember the one term used. And it was in response to Natalia's video. It wasn't on Natalia's video, though. And it was talking about the fact that you're not missing AuthorTube. I'm paraphrasing here. You're not missing AuthorTube. You miss ScammerTube. And that's what has changed about AuthorTube. AuthorTube was advice and how-tos. And then there was that period where there were people selling services that they weren't qualified to sell, and they were scammers, so ScammerTube. And now there's this whole new beastie that's mainly live streams and less videos. It's changed. It's evolved. And I just thought the comment about ScammerTubes was perfect. It was beautiful, and I love it so much. And it was Jessica Williamson that said that. I got notes here on who said what to make sure I don't say someone else said something they didn't say. Change happens. It's scary, but it's necessary. Again, because AuthorTube is evolving, it's growing, and it's growing, and that's the big thing. While content creators are leaving AuthorTube, whether they're going on to make other kinds of content or just leaving YouTube completely, every day there's new content creators making content. There are new people streaming. There are new people making videos. I myself, with just searching this term, found a couple new people to me. JC Carpenter was the video I first watched after watching Natalia Lee's video, and she's not a new person to me. I've seen her on live streams. I've watched several of her videos, but she mentioned some videos. She mentioned Laura Wrights. I had heard of her, but I'd never watched any of her content. I hadn't gone to her channel before, so I watched her video. And then when I searched on YouTube, so it wasn't Googled, when I searched for is AuthorTube dying, I pulled out videos from Emily Bourne, from Sophia Midwinter, who is a small AuthorTuber who is brand new to the community pretty much. I found Camille Merrick's video, which wasn't just about this question. It was actually a lot of things. It was a life update, and oh boy, Camille, you are braver than me for admitting the kind of stuff that you admitted in your video, and I love it. I just love it. But there's been a lot of debate going on about whether or not AuthorTube is dying in response to Natalia's video. And some of it were from smaller AuthorTubes. Sophia brought up a really good point that, and actually, let me back up a little bit, because Laura Wrights brought it up originally in her video. She had to wonder, if you're really questioning whether AuthorTube is dying because you're not seeing content, are you looking for it? And I had kind of questioned that in the back of my mind, but I thought it was just me being paranoid, because I know that every once in a while, that little spark of jealousy in me is like, you're a bigger YouTuber. You have many, many followers, many more than I probably ever have in my life. And that spark of jealousy in me is like, are you even searching for anyone who's not already a big YouTuber like yourself? Like, seriously? And then then Laura said it. Are you actually actively looking for new YouTube content? And I was like, oh, snap, someone said it. But there are so many new AuthorTubers these days. Like, you can throw a stone and hit one. Don't do that. Don't do that, please. But all you have to put into the search tag is AuthorTube newbie tag, AuthorTube, and you will find hundreds of videos. And Sophia brought up the point that the algorithm makes it really hard for some of these smaller channels to get found, because a lot of the first couple, several pages of videos are going to be nothing but bigger AuthorTubers over smaller AuthorTubers, which is really unfair and really sad. And so you have to work a little harder to find new YouTube videos. I know Sarah Scharnweber has a series, and she recently did a video where she said she's going to start the series back up, and she gets together a whole list of new people who have done the AuthorTube newbie tag, and they are all channels with 100 or less subscribers. It's awesome. If you haven't found it and you haven't checked it out, link is in the description. It's a really good series, and it's a good way to find new people in order to watch. There's ways of finding new content, and there are people making new content on a daily basis. Smaller channels. I have now subscribed to 3 new channels in the past couple weeks since watching Natalia's video, because I actively looked for them. I actively looked for smaller channels. I have to admit that a lot of the channels I'm subscribed to are, over half of them that are AuthorTube, are smaller channels with less than 1,000 subscribers. There's very few that are over 1,000 subscribers. And it's just because I want to support them. It's not that I don't want to support the larger channels. It's just that, again, it goes back to me having so much time. And a lot of the larger channels have more of the how-to and advice videos I'm not interested in. And a lot of the smaller channels have more of the writing vlogs, more of the this is how I'm doing things, experiment videos that I am interested in. And that's the only reason I've subscribed to more smaller channels than larger channels. It really is. Also, that spark of jealousy, I see that number, I'm like, oh God. Especially if I know how long they've been on YouTube. I've been on YouTube for 6 years now, and I'm just like, that little green monster inside me is like, grrr, grrr. Going back to the people disappearing from YouTube, I told you that I was going to ramble a little bit. Emily Bourne made a very good comment. Her video was a little bit different. It wasn't actually a response to Natalia's, but it hit along the same lines. And that was why it was very interesting to me, because she talked about 2020 as a whole, and now going into 2020. I don't know how many people remember, but 2020, we had a pandemic. There was this virus going around. It affected everything worldwide. And a lot of people were either, like, their whole lives changed. Kids were home from school. Remote learning was a thing. People either lost their jobs or had to work from home. Essential workers were doing twice as much work, pretty much. It was a whole debacle. I'm just saying. And lots of things happened because of it. People unfortunately died. People unfortunately got really, really sick. Some got better. Some are still dealing with health issues. And lives were pretty much turned upside down. And I think it's really unfair of Natalia to bring out her video, especially like right now when we're just starting to find a new normal. Maybe that's just me, but we were in a pandemic last year. It felt like the beginning of this year was more of the same, like a repeat of 2020. It's 2020.1 or 2020.2. Even I, with the move, have started just now finding a new normal to kind of work around. So her comment about people leaving and going on hiatus kind of felt really unfair. And Emily Bourne's video was interesting in the fact that she talked about how she think her life would have been different, how her publishing career would have been different, how her home life would have been different if the pandemic hadn't happened. And I honestly hadn't thought about it from that way before. I had thought about the fact that we were in a pandemic, and I had thought it was really unfair of Natalia to bring up this now when everyone's just starting to get normal. I mean, there's still places that they've rolled out the vaccine, but it's not available to everyone yet. So we're still dealing with the pandemic, and we probably will be until about this time next year. If this video had come out next year, honestly, I probably would have been a little less mad, maybe. At least as far as the unfairness goes. Probably not, but at least as far as the unfairness goes, I would have been a little less mad. the pandemic changed so much, and that's part of where this shift in AuthorTube has come from. Because as people were at home more, we were able to go out less and less. We weren't able to go to book signings. We weren't able to go to conventions and cons. We weren't able to go to retreats. There was a lot couldn't be done physically that was done before. And it brought a whole new change to the AuthorTube community as well. This is where there had been live streams before, but they were mostly during like Nano months. Camp Nano in April and July, NaNoWriMo in November. And that was pretty much it. There was a handful of people doing live streams all the time, whether on a weekly, monthly, quarterly basis, but there wasn't as many live streams. With the pandemic, saw a huge rise in live streams because we wanted that social interaction. We wanted to be able to do something, even though we were cooped up in our house, we wanted to talk to someone and we wanted to interact one-on-one with people in real life, in real time. In real time was the main thing. And that was something that I hadn't thought of. I mean, that was, but how it would have been different if the pandemic hadn't happened. That was something I hadn't thought of. And I don't know exactly what about my own personal life would be different. I wouldn't be homeschooling, I can tell you that. I don't like homeschooling. If you like homeschooling, kudos to you. I hate it so much. It's not even funny. I got so much more work done when my kids weren't home. I might have more books published because of it too, because I would have been able to have less depressive periods because people I knew and cared about weren't sick or having problems with health issues because they couldn't leave their house or just disappearing and making me wonder, were they coming back or did they get the virus and are dead? Seriously, that was a concern for some people who just disappeared. That, at least for me it was. I don't know about for you guys, but there were several people I was like, they disappeared without saying a word. I had to wonder, especially last year, did something happen to them? And I think if the pandemic hadn't happened, there would have been less of that worry, less of that fear, and things would have been different. I don't think there would be as many live streams as there are now. There was already that shift towards live streams because let's face it, live streams are easier than videos. What all goes into making a video? You have to film it. You have to edit it. You have to make any graphics or any text or any extra pieces that you're going to add into your video. You have to make a thumbnail. You have to wait for it to upload. You have to do the description. You have to get any links that you're going to include. You have to, if you're talking about various people, you need to go grab those videos and those channels and put their links in. That's a lot to do for one video. Live stream, turn the camera on, talk. That's it. You don't even have to make a thumbnail. Does it make it a little prettier? Yes, but you don't have to do that. You could just turn a camera on and talk and get responses one-on-one in real time. Like, there is a lot of love for that kind of video, especially these days with the pandemic still going on. While we are rolling out vaccines and people are starting to be safer, it's a thing, okay? And there are less videos being made for it. Am I a little sad about that? Yes, I am. Please make videos. Please make videos. I can't join a lot of the live streams. I'm on a hotspot and I only have so much internet. Please make videos. But I can see why those took priority over videos. People needed that social interaction. They needed that in real time conversation happening. And there was a lot of cool things that happened. I went to my first virtual retreat. It's actually my first retreat ever because the pandemic. I mean, it was really cool. I learned a lot. I still have a lot to learn going back and watching those live streams and watching those videos because there's a lot of information in that I think I missed. I probably did miss, or that I now would have different take on. There are people that were hit really hard with 2020 and the pandemic and everything, and there's some that are still feeling it and they're still not doing okay. They're like, Sarah put it perfectly in her vlog. It's her first video in a while. She's been doing live streams on Friday nights, but she didn't feel like making content. And there's a lot of people out there that were affected by 2020, are still affected by it now in 2021, who don't feel like making content. And I can't say I blame them. So to say that there's less content going on in AuthorTube when there's a pandemic going on is really unfair. It is not fair to AuthorTube. It's not fair to the content creators of AuthorTube. It's not fair to YouTube in general. And the reason I say it's not fair to the content creators is because those people who are on hiatus because they have issues and YouTube is just the easiest thing for them to drop right now because of how time consuming it is and how much energy it takes in order to make a video and how much effort that goes into making a video, to sit there and tell them that AuthorTube is dying because they're no longer making content. Are you really going to want to make content after someone says something like that to you? All you're going to do is make them feel guilty about not making content. And if they're anything like me, when you get to the point where you feel guilty about not doing something, it makes you want to do something even less. Why not quit? Why not stop? So-and-so says AuthorTube's dying. Why should I make more content for AuthorTube? It's unfair. And it causes guilt in people who don't deserve that guilt. I don't know how much more I could say about that without, getting angry again, because it's exactly what I want to do. One more thing I'd like to point out, and this was something that wasn't touched on any of the videos that I watched, but it was a comment made in Camille Merrick's video that she was reading off of. There was two comments that kind of paradoxed each other, and that's what I want to talk about, was these two comments. No one else touched on the subject yet that I know of, but the comments mentioned the fact that they missed the old kind of AuthorTube videos that were kind of how-tos, advice videos, and they wanted more of those videos versus the kind of more business-related videos that are coming out now. And I had thoughts about this. I actually am of the opposite opinion. There's all these how to write a character, how to write a villain, the top 5 tropes in various genres. As I've mentioned before, those are a dime a dozen. They might be all older content because no one's created them anymore because they are a dime a dozen. But the information in those videos is still as relevant today as it was when they were made a couple of years ago. What I'm not finding a lot of, or what I'm having trouble finding as much as I would like, is content that is more business related. Because I don't know how many on AuthorTube are trying to make this a business, but this is my business. I am an author. I am a stay-at-home mom who is an author. I do freelance work right now, but my eventual goal is to get to the point where I'm doing nothing but publishing stories and making money from my royalties. My eventual goal, honestly, my whole big dreams explode kind of goal, is for my husband to quit his job and become a house spouse so that I can just continue writing stories all day. That's my eventual goal. So this is my business, which means I want more business-related videos. In fact, actually, that's why I started making some myself. One of my most recent how-to videos was how to create a PayPal invoice. I had someone specifically request that I make one because they were asking advice, and I said, I'll make a video for you to show you how I do it. And they were like, can you just make it live? Because I'm sure I'm not the only person that needs this help. And I was like, oh my God. Because when I was starting to make PayPal invoices myself, I searched for them among AuthorTubers first. I mean, I probably searched PayPal invoices, period. But I wanted something that was specific for what I was trying to do, which was freelance formatting for my invoice. And there wasn't any. And I want more of those kind of videos. I want more videos that explain how to upload to KDP. Nicole Wolf just did a video recently where she talked about how she uploaded her book to KDP. And I haven't fully watched it yet, but that's the kind of stuff I want. I know that I have plans to show how I upload my books to KDP, how I upload my books to Ingram Spark, because I'm getting ready to make paperbacks, and I've never had paperbacks before. I haven't had paperbacks since CreateSpace existed eons ago. And so this is going to be a whole new process for me, and I know I'm going to be stumbling over it, and what I want to do is create a video that allows people to not stumble over it the way I'm going to. Make it easier for them so when they get to the same point, they have a video to watch that shows them step by step how to do it, because if they're anything like me and they're a visual learner, they're going to have a not much fun time doing it the first time they do it otherwise. And that's where I'm at. By the way, if you are a smaller content creator, if you have someone who comments on your video who's been on your channel for a while and you specifically asked what kind of content do you want to see, if they suggest something, even if you don't feel qualified to make that because you don't have the credentials, if it's something you've already felt like filming, film it. Why not? You had someone ask you for it. Make it. Okay? No one's going to stop you. And speaking of no one stopping you, I did want to apologize to JC Carpenter, our author JC Carpenter, because in her video, she made me cry a little bit, and I can feel it coming on now. She mentioned that she didn't think she had the authority to talk about this topic because she was a smaller channel. If you are a smaller channel, if you are making AuthorTube content, you have the authority to use your voice about the community you are in. You are in the AuthorTube community. You have the authority to make comments about the AuthorTube community. I don't care if you have one video or a million videos, one subscriber or a million subscriber. You have the authority to make comments about things going on in the AuthorTube community if you are an AuthorTuber. I just feel like that's a PSA that should be out there. So that's all I have for you guys today. I'm going to go ahead and try to piece this together so it makes some semblance of sense. And in the meantime, if you honestly believe that AuthorTube is dying, please let me know down in the comments why you think that is, because I really want to know what made you come to this conclusion. Make sure you guys check out the videos from the people I'm putting in the description, because they have also talked about this topic and they have a lot of good points that they talk about. Plus, maybe you'll find someone you haven't watched before that you're interested in watching. Anyways, I will see you guys all in my next video. Bye, Dragonlings.